Hello. Happy Tuesday. How's it going? Hey, to Shenanigans. McDuber. Rhiannon. Or should I say Raid Master Rhiannon? How's it going, everybody? Alright. It's an interesting song. We're going to transition now. Alright. Oh, forgot my lights. I always forget my lights. All right, well, welcome to Digital Iliad. This is the stream where we are working on an FTL-like style game, FTL Fast and Light, so kind of a starship management, isometric 2D kind of thing. All right, one of my lights isn't working. 1 second. How's everyone doing today? All right, we have some fun stuff to work on this week. We're actually setting off here for 7 days straight of streams. So we're going to do our usual, we're going to work on our usual game here. Tuesday through Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are going to be doing Down to Jam, community-centered game jam, d2jam.com. From March 6th through 9th. We're going to be doing that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we are going to do like a stream where we play through the jam games because the jam ends 9 a.m. Monday morning, my time. So I'll probably be coming off of an all-nighter Sunday night to Monday morning. And, oh, look. Oh, you can't see us. Dang. We're, like, in this. There I am. Oh, and I'm gone. It's funny. It's funny that I'm in there. We do got to vote on the theme. I got to remember to do that. But yeah, we're going to do that. And then next week is GDC, the Game Developer Conference in San Francisco. So I will be taking the following week off. So we're streaming Tuesday through Monday this week, 7 days straight. And then I'm taking Tuesday through Monday, the next Tuesday through the next Monday, 7 days off. So it's going to be, you're hyped for a game jam? Yeah, I'm nervous. This is the same jam that brought us Bare Necessities. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we do. You're doing pretty good. You're getting some problem solved. Nice, nice. I got some stuff solved last night, sort of. I ended up with this horrible spaghetti code. I know you were talking about spaghetti code in the Discord. The cursor mapping system is in a weird place right now. What even is this? Why did you want reflection? But yeah, here's where we're at currently. Yeah, we're gonna have to really tighten it up for Down to Jam because it's 72 hours, but everything has to be made from scratch. You're looking forward to the growing emoji collection? Yeah. Me too. So here's some stuff that I worked on last night and over the weekend. We're trying to get our cursor to work better. So we're trying to be able to like scroll through these environments, and I kind of have something that kind of works. So if we make our usual little test area. So we do this, we can now, famous last words, we can now scroll into these shapes. So I'm out. Oh, we can't scroll back out of them though. That's interesting. All right, I changed something. So we can't scroll out, but we can scroll in. That's unfortunate. We can fix it kind of with the cutaway system. The cutaway system is kind of the hero of this. So you'll notice that the block actually follows my cursor now. I'm not doing any more tricks for this. And yeah, we can scroll through walls and floors. It's a little touchy, so we're going to try to refine it. We're going to try to refine it, and we're also going to try to get our selection working again, so I can like left click. So right now all we can do is build. We can't do any selecting right now. So yeah, we can scroll into these surfaces with some caveats. We can't scroll back out for some reason, which is weird. We also can't scroll all the way through. Nix, you're sick. At least you're getting there. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, so we're going to keep working on this. There's some weird edge cases, like right at the floorboard. So this is neat. So this is how we're solving that problem where we can't get to like... We can't get to this... to the edge, the close edge of a room. And I don't love this. Our options for doing this are to hold control and manually control the Z level and do that. Our other option is to just scroll in through the wall. And that lets us get to those hard to reach places, like up here. If we wanted to place something right under the ceiling, it's hard to do it. But if we scroll into it, we're there. Or, you know, if we manually lock our Z level, we can also do it. So yeah, this is what we're working on. Oh, we need to handle the case of the cursor is in the wall. We need to handle that somehow. The cursor is literally in the wall. That doesn't, the cutaway system does not like that right now, and it leads to this glitch when we're kind of in between. But this is okay. This is kind of what I want. Yeah, this brief moment when the cursor is in the wall is causing a visual glitch that I don't like. That brief moment where it like constricts before cutting away again. Constricts is the wrong word. It like resets when it thinks I'm in a wall. But yeah, I like this. This is a lot easier to peer into these ships. And yeah, the cutaway system makes it really easy because the cutaway system just handles it simplifies the process for us a lot. I could try to explain why, but I don't think I've totally understood it. It's one of those things where it's like when I was messing around with it, I was like, I spent hours trying these different approaches, and then I was like, wait, we already have a solution to this. But yeah. So the first thing I need to fix is the reverse scroll. So we should be able to scroll out to the last wall. I mean, I can do this trick of just going to the cutaway wall, which is all right. And would be better if we were able to handle this brief moment when the thing is in the wall. I gotta work on that. There's also a delay, I think, because of the canvas item drawing. Nanigans, you have a thought on a tweak to the cutaway that might be a better balance to visibility versus relieving too much? You think it could help with performance ever slightly too? Try and mock it up versus trying to communicate a comment? Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Appreciate it. I'll finish the rest of my coffee here. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday here.
Maximum warp.
Maximum warp, no Jewel. How's it going? Yeah, I think this week is gonna be pretty crazy. With a game jam over the weekend and the Game Developers Conference the following week. Alright, so what has happened? So, this code is horrible. This is one of those horrible spaghetti codes that I just kept writing out to like handle distinct conditions, and I haven't cleaned it up at all, so it's just a mess. Duplication and everything, game jam. Yeah, no, Jewel. D2 jam. Are you down to jam? Down to jam. The community-centered game jam is this weekend. I'll be doing it. I'm down. I love the way that logo reacts. Look at everyone who's down to jam. Oh yeah, there am I. Who's that? Who's that back there? It's like I'm moving in stereo. Actually, it would be if I was on the other side of the screen. All right. Yeah, we got to vote on the theme. I got to remember to do that. We can talk about that later. So when the Z scroll is less than 0, and if the cursor block cut list count is greater than the hit list count. Yeah. Wait, no, it's less than the hit list count, right? Okay. So there's a list of all of the blocks that we hit with our raycast system. And there's two lists. There's one that's like all of the blocks regardless of whether they've been cut away or not. And then there's a second list, which is like only the ones that haven't been cut. It's like a cut down version of the list. And that's the difference between, you know, a block being cut away or not cut away. And so we can scrutinize both lists. If we're trying to zoom out and there are blocks that haven't been cut, then what we can do is we can go through this list and figure out, we can say hit coords is hit list I. Is this right? I equals block cut list count. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Jacob. What's up? How are you doing? I know you're coming straight off of the marathon game jam. Are you down to jam this weekend? I really want to do another solo development jam, but I'm so concerned that Practical's going to schedule it between Down to Jam and Ludum Dare. And I'm like, oh, that would be too many jams, but I really want to do another solo development jam. It's my favorite jam because I can just use art asset packs and stuff and sound packs, and I can just focus on the game. Not have to worry about asset creation in like 24 or 48 hours or 72 hours or whatever. You're D2 jamming, you took Friday off? Nice. Yeah, I took Friday and Monday off. So I have a bit of a breather at the end. And then GDC is the whole rest of next week. Just crazy. It's a little packed. I'm a little concerned. But yeah, I'm very excited as well. All right, so the hit coords are just whatever the top of the hit list is. Oh, it's not the top of the hit list. It's wherever the hit list starts after the cut list ends, because we start with the cut list.count as our index for the hit list. And then we say if the cuts has this coordinate plus the next coordinate, continue, otherwise. So why do we never get here? All right. This one's mostly working, which is the forward scroll. And we have this concept I introduced last night, which, yeah, this is such a mess. All right, let's look at this again. Hey, Arneo. What does community-centered mean in the D2 Jam? It's very community-oriented in terms of, like, a lot of the development of, like, what the jam is. It's got, like, the steering committee is, like, members of the community. Like, it's all very, like, it's like Pomo and Adagon and a bunch of people. It's not just, like, one guy, like with Ludum Dare. Like there is no like, I mean, Adagon kind of does, I feel like everything related to Down to Jam, but I think it's meant to be more of a community oriented thing and less of like, you know, the work of one person. I think that's what that means. Interesting you would compare it to LD in particular. Yeah, Bad Cop, I know. Jacob, you're going? I'm kind of going to GDC. This is actually one of the first years in a while I'm not paying for a pass. Because most of the fun is honestly just hanging out in like the park nearby and like the Yerba Buena and just chilling with people. So I think that's what I'm doing this year. Like I want to go to Slug World, which is like an alternative kind of event in Oakland on Tuesday. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a couple of meetups, but yeah, I'm not going to the expo. I'm not paying for a ticket. I vehemently disagree with kind of everything they've been doing with the rebranding and everything of the conference. Not that it ever really had anything for solo devs to begin with, really, but yeah. All right, so we can scroll in. We can scroll into the next rooms. You still never sent me which events you're going to. I'll send them to you, Bad Cop. I think over the weekend I kind of decided what I was gonna do. I'll send you my itinerary. But yeah, if anyone's gonna be at GDC, hit me up. It'd be cool to meet up in the park or get lunch or something, coffee. Yeah, okay. So we can kind of walk our way out of the cutaway, which means the reverse scroll is not super important, but I would still like to have it. But it is still neat that you can kind of just mouse your way out of the cutaway. But why can't I scroll out of it is my question. So if you think of an array, or not an array, if you think of a list coming from the camera, of all the blocks coming from the camera through to the cursor, and then like to the end of the board. Here, we know that there's walls towards the camera because they've been cut away. We know they're there, so we should be able to scroll back into them. But something I did is making that not happen. I don't know what it is. Maybe you should join the Down to Jam. It's a solo one, right? There's two categories, so I'll go look at that for a second. I'm not sure what's happening with this. Down to Jam. So about there's two modes. There's like a solo mode and like a more open mode. Yeah, so there are teams, but there's a one dev army mode, which is kind of like compo. So there's a mode called one dev army that's kind of like the compo mode. The only real difference with compo is that you still get 72 hours, I think, to do the one dev army. And then regular is more like jam in Ludum Dare. Yeah. So like you don't have to do one dev army to do it. So for regular, like you can use pre-made code and assets and stuff. And then in one dev army, it's supposed to be like you make everything. You pretty much make everything with the same caveats that that these jams usually have, which is like you can use pre-made fonts or code or logos and stuff, but like the art, music, SFX, the experience should all be made. This song feels crazy loud for some reason. Yeah, this is fun. Hey, Sapphire. Thanks for the flyby here. Appreciate you. All right, so why can't I scroll back up through the walls? Is it because of this latest thing that I did? I introduced this surface coordinate concept to add stability to a very particular case, which is one of the cases we were trying to solve, which is like if you just have it doesn't need to be a low wall. It could be any high wall, but we have this problem where I can kind of position my mouse here because I can see it through, but you can't really, if I continue along, I can't really keep hitting this point right behind this wall unless I scroll into it. But then I need some kind of thing that makes it stable, because otherwise if it's not stable, it would just reposition to this outer every time. So it kind of remembers. It's almost like it remembers where on the map it's initially positioned, so it doesn't freak out if you still move within that tile. And it adds a little stability so that you can like get back, because you can't really move without it repositioning, but you can do this, and then you could initiate whatever thing you wanted to do, and like that would be fine, right? So that's how we handle what I call the like far wall problem. But is that preventing me from scrolling back? I think it might be. Why would it be though? No, Joel, so theoretically you could use your shader effects. Is there just code? Yeah, I think something like that would be fine. Like if you have code templates and stuff, even if you're doing one dev army, I think it's okay. I don't think people would fault you for that, for using like shaders, code shaders that you've written. All right, so I think this is introducing something that's stopping this. So what we're doing, we want to do, so if there are blocks in the hit list, meaning there is a block along our raycast, if the Z level scroll is not 0, and there are multiple blocks along the list, then depending on what we're trying to do, if the Z scroll is less than 1 and the cut list is greater than or is less than the hit list count, then we say I is the hit list count, I is less than the block hit list count, I++, hit coords, so this hit list at I, if block cuts dot has, oh, is this, no, this should be working. So we're basically saying, okay, so is this coordinate that's next in the list, basically the first block that's been cut out, is that block exposed? If it is solid, meaning that it's like in between some walls or floors or something, we skip it. We want to find the next block that is exposed to like open air, quote unquote, which is the next one that we can actually select. We don't want these like fully entombed blocks. So why are we not entering this? Or Or why are we not achieving what we're trying to achieve? Alright, I++. Oh, we're going out. No, that's what we are supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be going out. So why there's no worky? I guess we can see if we're attempting to do this. I'm really going to try to get an update out for Bare Necessities out this week before the game jam. Just like a little update, partly because I also have some code template stuff that I want to get ready for the jam, part of my Digital Iliad standardized code, aka disk. I like to be able to hit the disk, you know, when I do a game jam. And yeah, there's one template that's not finished in Bare Necessities, and I want to finish it so that I can reuse it. Because I have this feeling, I have this crazy feeling that whenever I make a game from scratch, it's going to end up being an isometric 2D pixel art game. I feel like that's all I've got within me. I don't like top down. I don't like side on. I can't do 3D. It's like the only thing that I got. Someday I'm going to try a block bench game. Like we'll do some block bench stuff, but I feel like it's Bare Necessities or bust for us. So I want to have some nice template stuff to make it easy. Why did I open the engine? Oh yeah, because we use it sometimes. Yeah, you gotta like practice those tools a little beforehand. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's what I think. I basically have a system. I could even show it later. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow when I've got the update in place. But we have some systems, or maybe I'll show the template during the game jam or something. I've got stuff for handling game state, where you use the tile map as like a repository for game state, which is questionable. But it's kind of nice when you're doing something quick and easy, and you can tie. It's for times when you're not separating the gameplay from the rendering, but you still want to manage like discrete gameplay movement along with gradual rendering movement. Like someone gradually moves from one tile to the next, but their gameplay state jumps, right? So there's like, I have some tile maps for determining like the gameplay state of the board. That's really sharp, and then that ties into like the rendering state of the board, which is a lot smoother. And I have some templates to like moderate that. Why did I make this whole? I didn't need to do the whole demo. Oh, hey. Why does the scroll wheel work now? It doesn't work super reliably. Like it does this kind of failed jump sometimes, and I don't understand why. I think it has to do with the canvas item drawing. Or maybe it's the cutaway. There's like a system desync of some kind. But yeah, okay, so we can scroll out and in, which is neat. But for some reason, this doesn't work when we have a sealed compartment. I'll try that again. Like block bench. Yeah, I've made the mistake of trying to use a new tool and not opening it before a game jam, and that is rough. Yeah, I would like to try block bench someday. Game jams are where you throw out all architectural concerns. That's generally true. You can think about it a little more carefully when you start working on the template. But yeah, generally, architectural concerns are not a concern. So I can scroll in, and I can Oh, I can't scroll out now. So we're going to make another one on top here that's not sealed. Arneo, you guys have like different project templates. What kind of stuff would you put in something like that? You did your first crack at an audio bus node yesterday. You imagine that could be one that goes on every project? Yeah, audio, like audio player I've done before. It's usually simple enough that I don't bother, but I've definitely done it enough times where I'm like, yeah, this could be a template. Rhiannon, scene switching loading, a default menu would be good for a template. Yeah, I have a friend that made a really good game jam template that handles stuff like that. It's like scene switching, save loading, UI for menus and stuff. They have like a template for that. I haven't because I'm not a very menu heavy person, but I want to use that template of theirs. I need to practice it some more, like Jacob said. Scroll back. Okay, scroll in, scroll out. Scroll in, scroll out, scroll out. Yeah, I don't like the failed scroll when sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't like these ghost scrolls. It looks like it makes the same... Oh no, does it make a different attempt? 46, 49, 14, 3, 46, 49, 15, 1, 47, 49, 15, 2, 14, 3, 46, 49, 15, 1, 47, 49, 15, 2. Yeah, it looks like it's the same. Whether it fails or not, it goes through the same process. I think it's just a disconnect with the cutaway system. Yeah, for some reason, the single scroll just creates this weird visual glitch where it moves to the correct point. Yeah. So this is interesting. Here's an interesting thing. So we can scroll into and out of an exposed room, but for some reason, we can't scroll out of a sealed room. We can scroll into a sealed room, but we can't scroll back out. Why is that? Interesting. Huh. Nanigans, your cutaway ideas posted to the Discord. Basically just expand one block further from the room you were trying to cut away, then just go down to the camera rather than cut away more rooms. Oh, we've done that. We've tried that. Let me see your diagram. I think I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of like, instead of cutting out along the axes, like the XYZ axes, you're actually thinking of cutting towards the camera, like a much tighter like tunnel, like a frustrum, right? Jacob, you've been poking at Unity.ccs this week. You wanna dork around with it in the jam? Might be biting off more than you can chew. Yeah, I would not recommend, as someone who spent a few years doing Unity.ccs stuff, that is not something I would do in a game jam. Because .ccs is like, I mean, it's probably a lot better than now. I haven't used it for a few years, but back when I was using it, it was like, if you wanted to come up with a .ccs version of something, you had to write the whole thing yourself from scratch. Like it didn't play nice with all of the existing systems. I feel like they've backed away from having that be the way it works. I feel like nowadays the entity is just like a representation. Ah, yes, we have done this before. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. Yes, this. The cut forward and through. We've tried this. I have mixed feelings about this. I don't love the sawtooth look. I appreciate how quickly you mucked this up. And how, like, realistic it looks. Yeah, I don't love the sawtooth is one of the main issues. But the other issue is I feel like situational awareness is very low with this model. Because also you have to imagine the ceiling would be cropped a lot tighter too. We'd probably crop in the floor and the ceiling much tighter. But yeah, or even if we didn't and we had like a full Z cutaway, you still have this. No, I think this is neat. I have tried this before because I like this because it emphasizes the outside of the ship. So it retains most of the look of the exterior of the ship, and I do like that. But I think I want to aim more for like incidental like incidental information that you get from just a more extreme cutaway. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm coming around to that. All right, so why does this not work? But only when we are in a sealed compartment. Weird. Pretty much, yeah, just expanded out another tile or two so it's not so claustrophobic. Yeah. We could try something like that. We'll probably have different cutaway models of varying kinds if we can come up with good ones. Because I can imagine different ways that we want to do lo-fi flyby, right? Like, I think some people would want lo-fi flyby to be very small and cropped very tightly. So you just like see the one room that you're in and you don't see the rest of the ship. The rest of the ship is just cropped away. I could see that being a cutaway model we like, especially for lo-fi flyby. I could see another cutaway model where it's like you pre-cut the entire ship and just present the entire ship as like this partially cutaway thing. That would be very dependent on the design of the ship being like conducive to that sort of thing. But I could also see kind of the more general thing we have now. I don't know. I feel like I want to try some different things. But well, I'm pretty happy with what we have for now. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. No, it's kind of crazy. I feel like we've tried everything like 3 times for this cutaway. Because it really is, in my mind, the visibility problem of this game is the problem. The problem of we've got this 3D space that you can only see in 2 dimensions. So it's like there's a perception problem of how do you see past these blocked walls and stuff, right? I feel like that's the problem we're having to solve. So why does the cutaway work now? Mostly. You know, it's neat. Yeah, I don't understand the false. It looks like it jumps to its new position for a frame, but the cutaway doesn't turn off quickly enough. I think we need the cutaway system to run before the cursor mapping system, maybe? Is that maybe what's happening? When does the cursor mapping system run? Oh, the cursor mapping system runs first. Then the editor system. Yeah, we're going to need to add some kind of latency. We're going to need to add some kind of multi-buffering where, like, we take an input. It's one of those things where it's like we process last frame's input next frame or something like that. We're going to need to add a 1 or 2 frame delay on a lot of this stuff so that all of it we can get all our ducks in a row and everything can be very nice and performant. It'll introduce a frame or 2 of input lag, and I think we will live with that. Because I think it will eliminate weird little things like that where like the cursor wants to jump to a new coordinate, but the cutaway system hasn't run yet, so it doesn't know where the new point that it should be is because the cutaway hasn't updated itself. Annoying. Shenanigans. You could also do a fully top-down cutaway where you only keep the bottom block of a wall for the floor you were focusing on and get rid of everything higher. Yeah, we could try that too. All right, so like I was saying, why does this system fail, but only in a very particular context? not block hauls has cursor coordinates continue. If not block cuts has record. So it's iterating through here just fine. Like there's no difference in terms of the output from the debugger, whether this is working or not working, which is neat, interesting. So block cuts has words XYZ. Oh, is this an update problem? Maybe this is also an updating problem. Is it because the cutaway system only No, the cutaway system... For some reason, the cutaway system only runs when the canvas item drawing system runs, and that runs in a task. Oh, that's not good. So this is not running every frame. That explains some of the weirdness, but I don't think it explains the fact that this doesn't work when we're in a sealed compartment. It only works when we're open. Like, what's the difference between a compartment and not a? I'm not going to do this whole thing. I'm just going to do 2 floors, 1 sealed, 1 not sealed, and we're gonna see what happens. I mean, we know what happens, but we're gonna just stare at this for a while and try to understand. So no problem here, relatively. I can't scroll back out. So I can scroll out of here, no problem. Man, the scroll is twitchy. Well, I set aside this whole week to work on the mouse cursor and how the system reacts to the mouse cursor and how the cursor behaves. So we have time. Well, we have 4 days, but we have time. So this is all fine. But when I try to do that down here, it won't. Why is that? We can scroll. I believe we can scroll. Here, let's make one more wall here. So no problem scrolling within. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't like those abortive, like, the scroll doesn't always register fully. Can we scroll forward through? Okay, so we can, when we're in a compartment, we can still scroll forward into the next compartment. That's good. We just can't scroll back out, which is weird. And, like, I guess technically we don't really need that because we can just back out. Like, we can just back out to the next room. I need something that doesn't allow the cursor to be in a wall or a floor. I need something that prevents that from happening. It should only ever be like, we should only ever be able to select an exposed face this way. We should never be like in between floors. But yeah, what's different? So this works here. Cutaway's the same. There's just a cutaway block. So the system is like, oh, hey, I see a block behind the cursor. And by behind, I mean between the camera and the cursor. Let's cut away. So if we scroll forward, we go through the next solid one. If we scroll back, we go through the last cutaway one. So we just jump to the next surface. That's how I want this to set up. But for some reason, when I'm in this situation, I can't. Huh. What's the deal with that? Very strange. I'm gonna finish my coffee. We're gonna just try to thought hammer this out here. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday here. Fresh week. Same problems. Fresh week, stale problems. Rhiannon, sorry, got back. Is that you can't scroll back out of a sealed room? That is exactly it. And only a sealed room. The scroll works every other context, but except the only thing we can scroll in 4 situations. We can scroll forward into a sealed room. We can scroll forward in an exposed room. We can scroll back out of an exposed room, but we can't scroll out of a sealed room. And that ain't that like the darndest thing. The hit coords thing tells me that we go through this part of the loop exactly the same. So what's happening further down? Maybe. We do kind of just end up here. Is here a problem? We've already assigned the cursor, the input, by this point. Oh, you know what are we like never actually recording the cursor thing? And so we're just stuck with the surface coordinate or something? Here, we're gonna jump the debug down in here and see here. We're gonna move the debug line. We're gonna see what we get in terms of the output. The inputs look good. So what's going on with the output? There's something where if I release the control too early... Oh, it jumps back. Isn't that interesting? Why does it jump back exactly 1? Huh, weird. Alright, so we open this up. We make 2 rooms, one of which is sealed and one of which is not. Okay, yeah, so we don't actually get out of this loop, but if I'm up here and I do this... Yeah, I don't understand why it must be that system order thing. Okay, so I see where the problem is. I don't see what the problem is, but I at least see where it is. So why would this not work in this situation? Okay. So where we're getting stuck is right here. This continue statement is running. But only for a sealed compartment. So what's the deal with that? So this basically says, all right, give me the coordinate of the first block that's been cut away. If that first block that's been cut away... Oh, block cuts has... Duh. Well, hold on a second. No, not duh. Let me make sure the cutaway system is doing what I want it to do. Cutaway system might be weird. The cutaway should be saying, if there are no block halls, don't cut. Like, if there isn't a hole there, don't bother to cut it away because there's nothing to cut away. Are we consistently doing that every time? Ah, if not interior... I know it's exactly what's happening. Our interior cutaway is too aggressive. That complicates things a little bit. That's okay, though. We can work with this. We'll say if not cutaway... If not interior dot contains this... And block dot hulls. Block hulls. Oh, do we not have block hulls in here? We should. Mask 3D. Read only. Hulls. Ah. We were cutting away coordinates, empty coordinates, and it was interfering with the check that we were running, but only for interior rooms. Has block boards. So only in this case, only if there's a hole to cut away do we cut away, because other systems care. I know we could just overlap them a little bit, where we could say, you know, that's probably the better way to do this. We'll do it like this for now. We might change it later. We'll do this for now. Alrighty then. This should work now. This should no longer care whether the room is sealed or not. This should just straight up work in any case. Oi. I don't like... Something about letting go of the control too quickly messes up the action that I'm trying to take. I know it's tempting to say that, like, I love this. I love that you can just run your cursor through a solid area. And you can kind of crawl up the shape and then go back out that way if you needed to. Actually, does that not work anymore? No, it does. Oh, maybe it doesn't. You shouldn't be able to do this anymore. I kind of maybe want you to be able to. I have to decide how to handle off-screen motion. The way I normally handle it is it just takes whatever Z level that it was already at just to prevent the crazy, like, crazy visual artifacting. Try to do something a little off-centered. See how the system likes that. I also need to prevent you from being able to just do like this. Not that, but this. Do like blocks. I don't actually want that. Oop. I want you to be constrained. Like, you can either make a floor or a wall, but you shouldn't be able to just spam out enormous 3D sealed blocks. There's no reason you should be able to place those. I mean, I kind of like it from like I can just make a huge block and then erase. Like, I can do subtractive design. But, all right, so now I can scroll in. However far. Can I scroll back out? Yep. Great. Ship it. Yeah, we need to change the way the cutaway bit mask works versus the whole bit mask. Although we'd probably want characters to behave differently. Ooh, man, this is touchy is the thing, is what this is. I should probably have a cooldown where you can't, like, scroll more than, like, one compartment a second or something like that. Or a command. Like, just somehow, well, prevent you from accidentally, like, getting too crazy with it. Hey, it's 2 Bob. Commit, yeah. I should. I'm not going to, but I should. I'm really bad about my commit strategy. My commit strategy is like commit like once a day. I think once I have a published builds, I will commit more carefully. But right now it's more of like almost a diary of like, here, dear diary, here's what I committed today. All right, we're looking pretty happy with this though. We can scroll in and out, no prob. It's a little twitchy, so we're gonna work on that. I do kind of prefer just like cursoring your way out of the cutaway. I like that better. I think that's really elegant. But it is more work, so people should just be able to scroll out and in as much as they like. But yeah, I'm genuinely very pleased with this. I also think the raised wall and floor thing is super key. I know it's kind of annoying in terms of like usability, and it does introduce a minor visibility problem that we've talked about. Like, I can't get to that edge unless I go in like this. Unless I scroll into it very carefully, I actually can't get to this edge coordinate. It should be okay. It should almost never matter. Because, like, if there's a character, like, against a wall like this, the character is normally going to be multiple blocks high, so you can just scroll into the character without having to do this touchy wall edge trick. But yeah, you should be able to generally scroll into wherever you want to be, even if it's the edge of a wall like this that's like partly obscured. Ceiling part is a little hard. Why can't I do the ceiling part? Can I scroll into the ceiling here? There we go. Yeah, it's almost like I need to buy the cutaway system some time to update sometimes, which speaks to the desync that we're seeing between them. So why can't I do this at the edge? Yeah, I think it's just a delay of the cutaway system. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. I think the opportunity for incidental understanding of like, oh, you're focused on this room, but something crazy is happening over in this room. And yeah, I just jumped over to it because I went through the cutaway. Isn't that cool? Boink. I think that's neat. The wall thing. I need to figure out the wall issue. Have you seen dissolve shaders? I've seen a bit. I don't think I've ever made one. Like this sort of thing. You made one? Oh, sick. Let's just open that. Why is it asking me to... A second. I would like to look at that. It's asking me to sign in something first. Signing me back into GitHub. For some reason. It's Godot. Oh, you have a 3D one. Neat. All right. Give me my picture. Whoa. Flashbang. Tunnel vision dissolve shader. Oh. How does this work? Does it do like objects blocking the view between the camera and the player will dissolve, creating a clear tunnel of visibility? Neat. Are you doing that with like some kind of frustrum? Like it's like a geometry and anything in the geometry is getting dissolved away. That's pretty cool. Nanigans, you think the wall sticking up from the bottom should be fine from a visibility and usability perspective when it comes to gameplay? What's the scale of the blocks? About 5 foot by 2.5 feet. I haven't even thought about that, Nanigans. What the actual scale of the blocks is supposed to be. But that's worth thinking about. That's a good idea. Yeah, there's one situation where I'm a little concerned, and I will show what that situation is. It's the ventilation shaft or whatever you want to call it. I don't actually know how I'm going to do this in a way that's reliable. It's at the bottom of the... Yeah, it's a ray to the cursor. Oh, and so anything within a certain distance of, like, that ray is being, like, cut away. Cool. That's pretty sweet. Jeffrey's tube situation. Yeah, the Jeffrey's tube situation is the situation I'm most concerned about. So we're going to make a Jeffrey's tube, which is just going to be a single line. So the Jeffrey's tube is problematic. I overdid it with this wall. So the Jeffrey's tube has one single hollow space inside of it. Let's see how the cutaway system likes that. If I did everything right, it'll be okay. Nope. Very much not okay. So yeah, I need a solution for the Jeffrey's tube problem. Because the Jeffrey's tube problem, we can't actually see the Jeffrey's tube. Because of the way the cutaway works. Like, you can see this room here. I mean, you could see through the wall here, but the problem is we need to be able to actually see into the tube. We might need, like, do the other cutaway unless the room... Like, this would be good. We might need a special case for the Jeffrey's tube. Because this is kind of the cutaway that I would want to have, but that's not consistent with what we're doing everywhere else. Could you do an exception where it cuts the whole wall away if the room you're cutting into is 1 block tall? I think that's what we have to do. I don't really see an alternative. Because I prefer this for everything else. I prefer our, like, 1 block high deal. Just thinking in terms of the doors being 2 blocks tall would make it a 10-foot door. Nowadays, a door is probably about 4 blocks tall. The conversion is messy. So let me show you. I've not actually redrawn the doors for the new block structure because I don't really have it in me right now. So, sorry for the flashbang. So these are the old blocks, right? Big wall section, small floor section, this tall. They were the whole thing in perspective is 33 pixels tall. The new ones we made like this. So a 4 block structure here is 32 pixels tall, which is good because that's a nice even amount. So yeah, so it's about a 4-to-1 ratio. And it's slightly off. It's off by 1 pixel, which is great. So none of my old drawings will work 1-to-1. So there's an 8 pixel margin up top here. And yeah, here there should be a 9 pixel margin. Yep. Yuppers. So yeah. It's smaller by a pixel. So I don't know how tall a block is gonna be. Let's grab a person maybe. Oh, Hillfort Games. Hide the code. Raid alert. How's it going, Hillfort? My fellow in chunky pixel art character design. Although Hillfort's a real artist. Not like me. I just work here. How's it going? Fanny Slam, Ron the Zombie, Ronnie the Zombie, Want Banana. How's it going? How was the stream? Welcome in. This is Digital Iliad. You're a real artist? Thanks, Fanny Slam. Yeah, I don't know why I opened up with such just like blatant like fishing. Hillfort has inspired me to try Blockbench. I want to try my hand at chonky 3D pixel art kind of stuff. Shout out Hillfort. I know most of the viewers in here just came from Hillfort, but go check out Hillfort Games' game. You wouldn't if you saw us today, no? You're like I'm big, like I'm chonky. Yeah, nice chonky pixel art. I'll show you what we're doing right now. So we're working on our 3D ship visualizer. So this game is isometric 2D, but the ships are 3D. Like the ships are stacked. So you might have like a bridge on top and then like whatever, and shields, observation room, I don't know, engineering, cargo bay. There's a lot more verticality in our system, and we're trying to address what I'm hoping is not a curse problem, which is the visibility problem. So we have a bunch of systems that we built for this purpose. Blockbench was not fun today. Ooh, sorry to hear that. So here's our little editor. We can start just building out little rooms. We have an auto tiler. We've had this kind of tool for a while, but we just keep working on it. This is mostly just to help me build the game. There's some delays, so don't mind the artifacting. So we're gonna just make some rooms and some walls and stuff. So we'll make some compartments of a random arrangement. I just want to make sure that they're the same height. Make sure that we're not messing around with the height here. Just make some random rooms. Doesn't really matter. So we're going to make a bunch of rooms. We're going to cap them off with a ceiling here. And then we'll do the same thing on this higher level. It doesn't really matter what we do. So the thing I'm trying to show off is my cutaway system. We have a bunch of other stuff in here. We have an auto tiler. We have a cutaway system. You can kind of see it hiding the walls for me so that I could access this 3D area. But we added something new, which is fun, which I want to show. I added it yesterday. I'm just going to make the top level simpler. Seal that up. Oop. Seal this up. And this. All right. Now we have a scroll system. Is building your own ship going to be part of the game, or is this tool just for yourself? It's hard to say. I think it'll be used for like rearranging furniture and rooms and systems and stuff. I don't know if you're going to be able to like knock out walls and stuff in the game. This might be more for modders and myself. But yeah, we can now scroll into the ship. So we can address, so you're like looking at the outside of your beautiful cinder block. And you're like, oh, let me go check in what's going on here. Oh, let me go see what's over here. Oh, I want to go back. Let me go back. I went too far back. You can scroll into and out of. The out of is a little touchy. I almost prefer just scrolling in and then mousing out, taking advantage of the cutaway to just mouse back out to the last room. But anyway, thanks for the raid, Hillfort. If you got a raid and run, no worries. I was in a rush to show everyone this little bit of tech. We just added this part, the scrolling. We're still working out some kinks with it, but I think it's neat. And then you can kind of just mouse over if you're like, if something catches your eye, you can be like, oh, I was looking in here, but what's going on over here? So this is kind of what we've been working on. And we're working out some kinks with it. The scroll is not super reliable. It's a little touchy. I want to improve that. And occasionally the cursor gets stuck between the wall and the next room, and it kind of tricks the cutaway system a little bit. You don't like FTL, but you could get obsessed with this part alone. Yeah. Yeah, I want to see this with, like, we're starting small, but I would love to see this with like something bigger, like a space station. Like I would love to make like a Babylon 5 or like a Deep Space Nine with this, something more open-ended and large scale. We're probably going to start out smaller scale, like Firefly scale, like Serenity scale, like cargo ship scale, like small. The Hero Freighter is probably what we'll start with, but I would love to see this at scale. Because this is a big area. We can handle a pretty big build area. This only uses about a quarter of the... we can also go up pretty high. We can build a 64 by 64 by 64 area right now. Thank you for the follow, Fanny Slam and Thai Noodle. Really appreciate you. Thanks for the lurk, Hillfort. This is cool. You love making ships in Barotrauma. It's reminding you of that. Bliss Sims, Bliss Habbo Hotel, because isometric. I should look at Barotrauma. I never made ships. I never played Barotrauma. But yeah, this is... Our problem is our cutaway like half finishes. I think it's a delay. I think we figured it out, which is that the cursor mapping system runs before the cutaway system has a chance to update. So occasionally it tries to scroll in the next room, but doesn't. The cutaway system doesn't commit because it runs. Sometimes the cutaway system takes more than one frame to run because it's on a background thread. So I think I need to reorder that. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun just scrolling through the ship here. Especially when I'm down in some room and I like want to go up and check a room on a higher level. I love that I can just do that without scrolling. I can also do it kind of manually by manually adjusting my Z level, which you can do and which is useful in some cases. I think I should move the camera when you manually adjust the Z level. I think that would be less disorienting. Yeah, that one. Yeah, scrolling out doesn't work so well as scrolling in, but that's okay. Because it's hard not to accidentally just scroll your way fully out of the ship. Cool. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Gotta run. Thanks, Fanny Slam. Firefly mentioned. You follow. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're definitely going for Firefly for our initial build. We have kind of a FTL-like in mind as our initial usage of this technology, and I think that is going to be very Firefly core. It's going to be about a small crew, kind of just doing their thing. Just kind of a test of a lot of the systems. Time to rewatch Firefly now. Such a cool effect. Thank you, Todd Codes. Appreciate that. Bye, Fanny Slam. Appreciate you. Appreciate you hanging out. Oh, Bob, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so I had something in mind. I literally had something in mind, and I was like, I'm going to do this once I'm done explaining. And then it's gone. It's totally gone. What was it going to be? Something with the cursor map. But yeah, that's what we're working on. Very low res aesthetic, kind of a retro. At large scale, the game is going to feel more like Star Trek or like something like that. At a small scale, I'm aiming more for a Firefly feel and aesthetic. But yeah, retro Star Trek is definitely, I say retro. TNG is my thing. You're going to see some pastels like cursor map running before cutaway. That I have to rearrange all these systems to fix that. There was some kind of low-hanging fruit I was gonna fix. I'm gonna look at it for 3 seconds and then figure it out. So I was just messing around. We were just playing, just having a good time, and I was like, you know what would be a good thing to fix? It would be this. What was it? Yeah, definitely getting the system dependency right would be nice. Oh man, curse my brain. Oh yeah, I was telling Nanigans what the scope of what the scale of everything was. What else was I gonna do? Yeah, the other neat thing about this is you're gonna be able to rotate the camera 90 degrees. So you don't have to necessarily scroll all the way into the ship if you want to look at something on the other side. You could just turn the ship around and then scroll in. I definitely want to fix the wall thing. This, like, why is the cursor, like, in the wall sometimes and not next to the wall? Figure that out. There was something easy. There was something simple. Oh, yeah. I want to, so when you do this, when you like manually scroll the Z cursor up or down, the cursor's Z level up or down, we just want the camera to move. So that this block stays with the cursor. We used to do that, and then we stopped at one point, and I would like to do that again. Because I think that's a lot more intuitive. I'm a little concerned it might have an effect on something, but, you know, I think it'll be all right. So let's do that. So we're going to do that. We have to go into GD script. Set camera coords. Oh, that's the coords of the actual camera. So how do I move this camera? Pan viewer up or down. Yeah, this is what we want to do. Sign int. So we just pass in what direction we're doing. Nobody uses this, huh? Oh. Function parameter sign has the same name as a built-in function. Yeah, it does. Should probably call it something else. We'll call it direction. Dir. We'll call it direction. We have time. We have space. So we just need to call this from the appropriate person. Who calls this? The game board? View level up or down. I just want to pan the camera though. So this changes the level index. Do we actually use the level index or anything? We shouldn't. I gotta clean up. There's a lot of old code sticking around, which makes me uncomfortable. So you know about the camera. What about you? Are you the one who's gonna do this for us? But yeah, Nanigans, I want to go back to, like, I want to look back at the scale of a block. That's a good idea. It's a good idea to look at. I feel like that would answer some questions if I knew how big a block was. The fact that I don't is a little silly. All right, here are all my stupid commands to send stuff back across. Level up or down. Orbit left or right. Z level scrolled. So I could do Z level scrolled. Or I could do, these are basically the same. Move Z level up or down, or view level up or down. Alright. View level up or down does this. New level equals clamp I level index plus viewer pan 0 or level count -1. So you keep track of the level, which is good. This one just says is level index not equal to clamp I And then we say level index is that. All right, we'll do this one. This one seems fine. Move Z level up or down. So when are we calling this? So Z level scrolled. Let's do it as part of this. Arneo, looks like you missed a raid during Pizza Hour. Yeah, we got raided by Hillfort. Very nice. Very nice dev. Very cool project. I think their game is called Long Gone. It's like a 2.5D pixel art game. Super, super sick. Look at this. Look at this chunk. Look how chunky this is. The block game, block bench stuff they're doing. Oh, Outer Sloth. Oh man, does Hillfort have like a publisher? Oh man, what a pro. Yeah, I love this mix of like block bench 3D stuff and like side on 2D stuff. That's kind of how I mean, it's not exactly how our system works because we don't have any 3D, but like we are following the case of like the environment is in perspective and the characters are like basically side on. I love that. He goes to shoot and the bullet just like falls out of the gun. Super sick. Yeah, this is what Hillfort's making. Looks really neat. They're like an ex-AAA like environmental artist or something. They're like a real pro. This looks so good. Love that. I'm sure the music to this is like epic. Yeah, Long Gone. Go wishlist it. That's crazy. They got like Outer Sloth, I think is their publisher. That's awesome. I'm not ready for a publisher, but just saying, I would love one if anyone's asking. All right, we're gonna do this just because this is kind of the easy way to do it now. We're just gonna, when we get this, why can't I call this? Oh, because that's a static context. And this is not. Ah. Right. I guess we're gonna do something else. All right, what are we gonna do? Oh, you know what? Let's just not round trip it. Let's do this some more simply. We had like more of like an air gapped, like stuff gets sent over and then it gets processed in a queue and then it gets sent back. We had this like input queue, but we don't do that anymore. So what we could actually do instead. So whenever we call this, what we could also do is just say Z. What's this called? Board, game board dot. What is this function called? Oh, is this the game board? Are we already in the game board? Can we do this? Or is this the input handler? Oh, it's the input handler. Does the input handler know about this? It does. Okay. Game board. So we're going to say game board, and then we're just going to say move Z level up or down. This is how we're going to handle this. Move Z level up or down. And then we'll -1. This should work, he said, super confidently. What was this? Pixel art that has such depth. You love the colors too. Yeah, it's really impressive. Can confirmed. You're funded by Outerslot. That's amazing. They're about as good as it gets. Yeah, they sound great. Everything I've heard about them is great. I'm very happy. Very happy for you and your game. You love to see it. All right, so this should work. This should just casually move the camera a little bit when we do a manual Z level control. So if I'm doing this, I need a context or I need a backdrop or you're not gonna be able to tell. Okay. There is a disconnect. Are we not moving enough? Is that just what's happening? Oh, here's why it's got to come back. We actually have to... Annoying. But yeah, the thing I'm trying to... Yeah, I'm just... Whoa, boy. Okay, I understand why I didn't do that. Because the system is just moving forward. Ugh, okay. I see why we didn't do it that way. Oh, that's... Hold on. There's a more specific thing. We need to only have set Z level control is on. Let's just say variable Z level control. The bool equals this. Yeah, that's awesome. We're kind of taking we're taking a very like bet hedging our bets kind of approach. I know I just opened this horrible mess of a obsidian diagram, but we have like this roadmap, this like crazy roadmap for the main game. I'm calling it the quote unquote main game, which is our FTL-like. But there's so much involved in this. We're just working on this part right now, the tile block editor. We're trying to get... We have 4 real things that we need for some kind of MVP launch. We need the tile block editor. We need a shipboard simulation. So like, how does oxygen flow through the ship? Electricity, whatever. Can crew members move around? We need a scenario editor, which is like the thing where it's like in FTL when you're like, oh, we jump into an asteroid field. There's a pirate waiting for us in ambush. Or, oh, we jump into an asteroid field. There's like a ship in distress and we can help it. Like it's the thing that determines what happens when you jump to a new location. Like we need to be able to make those scenarios. And then we need a kind of battlefield. I'm calling it a 9-box because I'm thinking of it as being the player ship in the middle and kind of other stuff on the sides. But I've also recently been thinking, can it be hexes? Could the battlefield be a hex? Could it be your ship is in the middle and then there's a ship on each side of you, and then there's ships ahead and to the left, ahead and to the right, behind and to the left, behind and to the right? I'm tempted to organize it by hexes instead for the outer part, but yeah, there's this huge list of things we need to do. But if we can do just a few of these things, I know it seems like this is just slightly more, but I have a side project. We have a side project, which is Lo-Fi Flyby, which is just like an FTL light sort of idle game, which is almost just a vibe check of like, here's your like Firefly class ship. Here's your little crew. They're just going to do they're going to like fly their cargo from A to B and then B to A and then do this other thing and like have like a small little bite-sized taste of the game and try to get that out for like a few bucks as like a satisfying like idle experience or something close to idle, if not exactly, and pets. Yeah. Nyx. Hex is close to Nyx, so me like. Yeah, Hex sounds cool. Yeah, I think it would be easier and better from a situational, like understanding the situation between you and the other player. Of like, oh, they're in front of me and to the left, so the only thing that can hit them are my front guns and maybe my left gun or something like that. If you've got distinctions like that to make. But yeah, So I'm aiming for maybe something small that I can put out in a couple of years. Get a vibe check on if people like it. And then if people like it, keep working on the bigger one. I mean, I'll keep working on it either way, but we'll see. I'm trying to think about how we can like slowly amp up what we're doing without the benefit of a publisher. Because if we were to get one, it would only probably be after Lo-Fi Flyby comes out, and we've got some kind of interest. But that's so cool. Irish John's got a publisher. I think their Irish John is releasing soon. Very excited. Very excited for everyone. Everyone's doing great work. We're very pleased with what the community's doing. So our problem is we're scrolling up or down too much. We can only do it if we've actually assumed Z-level control. So here we'll say this, and we'll say something like this. If Z-level control, do this. Let's see if this fixes it. And pets. Yeah, Rhiannon Journey. The pets are going to be important. I'm kind of struggling in my mind about where to make the distinction in terms of like having to play the game. Because like, and by having to play the game, oh God. So this is expanding outward as we scroll up or down, and it's doing like it indiscriminately. Why is it doing it like twice as much? Oh, is it the old amount? Something is happening. Is it offsetting from... I thought this was going to be an easy quality of life thing, and it's turning out to be like a kind of a nightmare. Okay, and it's because this keeps going in and out. We can't... The cursor mapping system can't handle that. So I guess we got to make it so that it can handle that. Yeah, doing this while moving the camera is tough. Cats and geese, both incredible predators. Can confirm. All right, I know we're all over the place. It looks like the camera's moving the right amount. Like, it doesn't look like the wrong amount. This looks like the right amount of space, but the problem is the cursor mapping system is like freaking out. Why does it think we're that far away? But yeah, having pets will be fun. But yeah, the thing I'm struggling with is like, how much is the player going to need to do? And how much does the game kind of just play itself? At least for Lo-Fi Flyby. Like, how much of it is just a vibe and how much of it is like requiring player control? So here's the new block and the old block. The new block is about a quarter the size of the old block. And then if we grabbed a person, let me try to grab a character. I was able to grab a crew sprite. We grab a person. We put a person in front of the block. Wow, that is desaturated. Yeah, a person is less than 2 blocks high. So a person could fully stand up. Oh, you know what? That changes things for me. Why did I think I needed so much more space? We have to think about that. The person only needs 2 blocks. Weird. It would be low. The ceiling would be like an inch above their head, so maybe 3 blocks is better. For like being fully like not crouching. I think if a character was in a 2 block, so the way I have it in mind is that in 3 block, the character can just move around totally unencumbered. In 2 block, you can see that the ceiling is like an inch above their head, so I think they would crouch. They would crouch walk in a 2 block if they had 2 blocks of space to be in. And then with just 1 block, I think they would like army crawl. I think they would be reduced to army crawling. So that's kind of how I interpret that, at least with the standard, the bog standard character. I might make this guy a little taller, honestly. He's 14 pixels tall. And his sprite is 8 by 16. So I have a little more room. I left room for like animation and stuff, but I'll have to think about that a little more. I kind of like this. I think I can kind of work with it. That was a good idea thinking about that. I still don't know what the size of a block is then. I guess it would be a meter. Block would be like 1 meter tall. Because most people are like, what, like a little under 2 meters? I'm an American, so I don't know what a meter is. People are like, what, like 1.5 meters to 2 meters or something like that? Rhiannon, you like the idea of it being a Pomodoro timer-like thing? Set some commands, make some choices, let the crew work while you work. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the player will have control in Lo-Fi Flyby, but only for like an aesthetic standpoint. Like you could tell someone to go over and do something, but it's like that's not going to change the scenario they're in or like the overall commands of the crew, because it's supposed to just be a simulation of like a freighter. Hey. Hey, Manali. I hope I pronounced that right. Average 1.7 meters. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think it would be reasonable to say that block is about a meter tall. And then that would make it... It's hard with the perspective. But the block is not as tall as it is wide. Like its width is probably about double. So it's probably about a meter tall and about 2 meters across diagonally. Something like that. Not diagonally, you know what I mean. So 4 pixels is about half a meter, I guess. In this perspective, I'm going to get confused by the perspectives a lot. Because in this perspective, a meter would be about 8. Oh, no, it would be about the same. Maybe it's about 8 pixels a meter or something like that, approximately. And so a block is about a meter tall and about 2 meters across, deep, or whatever you want to call it. From here to here. That seems reasonable. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be doing physics simulations, so I don't know if I exactly care. The doors, though, the doors are going to be a bit tricky. Redoing the doors is going to be a bit rough. Even though it's such a subtle difference, the change is pretty significant. I don't know where the doors went. Are they in objects? Yeah, we'll need to redraw some of these doors. Like the single door is easy. It's like whatever. But it is too tall. It's 1 pixel too high, so I'm going to need to like tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, I have to redraw all these as components of a block or as assemblies of blocks. So a thing that's going to be important for us going forward, now that we've kind of broken up what used to be big big monolithic blocks for like assemblies of blocks, is almost everything is going to take up more than 1 block. So this idea of a thing is going to be very uncoupled from the idea of a block. A block is like a space that you occupy. And then most things are going to take up more than that. So they're going to be treated as like volumes, which is going to be interesting. Like this is a volume, like this is probably a 4x1. So it's, or a 1x4, or whatever you want to call it. It's like 1 block stacked 4 high. So yeah, we got to redraw those. Next, you're making mac and cheese. You don't have the correct noodles at home. You're too tired to go and buy it, so you're eating. Oh, what kind of noodle is that? Hey, Boolean, how's it going? How's things? Did you stream today, or is that later? I feel like you're generally on later in the day. How are you doing? It's the worst noodle for the job. Yeah, the noodle has to match. The noodle has to match. That's for sure. All right. So moving the camera when we scroll up or down is apparently a lot more complicated than I thought it would be, especially in terms of the implication for the cursor map. You think it wouldn't be because we're just moving the camera and that moves the cursor, but for some reason it moves it like a disproportionate amount. Game.input tile mapping.xy. Do we have to keep track? Well, we are keeping track of the Z cursor, the cursor Z level. When we're under game input.z level control. Hold on a second. Yeah, you normally stream late afternoon, not on Tuesdays. Just hanging out today. Oh, nice. Nice. That's chill. So yeah, this is not good. Why does this... Oh, is it actually working? And it's anchoring... I see what it's doing. So the hidden corner, the back corner, is anchored to the cursor. The problem is it shouldn't work that way. If we're in Z control mode, XY shouldn't be able to change as easily. Or at least not during this. We need some kind of lockout. If I don't have it, like if I do this and then I Z up, it should just go up. It shouldn't go up and out, which is how it worked before, but we weren't moving the camera, because I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do like a, you know, I'm not a bricklayer. I'm not going to do this brick by brick, which apparently I can't even manage to do. I'm not going to do this. So compartments are going to be small based on the little math we just did. Like a person fits in here. 1, 2, 3. Character fits in here. Oh, that's the thing to keep in mind, is this overhang. So this overhang is going to continue to be here. So that's important to keep in mind. So that's small. Man, we have so much space to use. So it moves it back. This is the thing that I don't understand is happening. Oh, you know what? Maybe we don't need to like artificially offset the Z level if we're just moving the camera. Maybe that is the thing. Maybe I'm doubling up on it is what's happening. I'm doubling up on the movement. Because if I stop moving the camera, it all works fine.
Your logic was impeccable, Captain.
Hey, Manali. Your near and far corners seem very dull, rounded, almost compared to the left and right corner. It's very interesting, though. Never saw a game with this art style. Oh, appreciate that. Sorry I didn't notice the message there for a minute. Yeah, so we are in an interesting perspective. We're actually, this isn't isometric. This is actually dimetric, and it's about half. So if isometric is like, we're like halfway to isometric. We stop about halfway. And it's so we have this nice kind of side-on look, which I was talking about it when we were looking at the Long Gone. The sound is so much louder than talking. Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's Spock. Spock, you know, takes priority. But I can tighten that up a little. Looks good. Thank you. Thanks, Boolean. But yeah, so the thing for us is like the environment is in a kind of perspective, this dimetric perspective. But our character art is all like flat 2D kind of side-on stuff. You can kind of see, and you can kind of see where it changes. You can kind of see that the chairs are like not totally in perspective, but the background is. And then the characters themselves are like not in perspective at all. They're just these little cardboard cutouts. So there's kind of this weird perspective shift. But yeah, because of the perspective, I think you were saying the front corners definitely are very dull compared to the edges, right? The edges are very sharp. This thing, here, you know, these two corners meet in like just as if they were just a straight line, and that's just kind of a side effect of the perspective. Because a normal isometric perspective would be like this. Is it actually 2D or is it sprite magic? It is all sprite magic. That's kind of a big thing about what we're doing. So yeah, a normal isometric would be like this. It would be 2 over for every 1 down. We have 4 over for every 1 down. That's the difference. DI for both Digital Iliad and dimetric, which I think is neat. So it's definitely a strange perspective that we use. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. Do I have any coffee left to defy the hydrate? Our perspective also breaks down at small scales. We've committed to doing half scale. So like if you have these shapes or whatever, we also need to do half scale ones so we can do a zoomed out view so that you can see more of the ship that's at like half scale. That's going to be an interesting challenge too for doing this stuff. I have to redraw all these for the new block scale. I did say I wanted to spend more time doing art, and you know, there it is. There it is, I guess. All right. So when we're in Z-level control, we clamp the Z-level, we add in the scroll. So I think I want to do it another way. I think when we're in Z-level control, instead of shifting the Z-level directly, what we actually want to do is constrain. Well, we do want to shift the Z-level manually, but we also want to constrain the XY. So right now we do vector 2i.xy times Z-level anchor. So that's intended to put us in the correct like column. There's a W chord offset, which I honestly don't know what that does, even though I wrote it and I calculate it down here. I genuinely don't remember why this works the way that it does, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it. And then we set the cursor Z-level manually, and we retain whatever our W coordinate was from before. So that's going to be a little different. So if I shut off the camera manipulation, I think I need to do that so I actually have some idea of what's happening here. I have to I thought this was going to be an easy change. Boy, was I wrong. There's so many things in your code you've forgotten how it works. I know. That's the way. I also don't write comments. I'm one of those the code explains itself kind of guys. And if it doesn't, it's my fault. So yeah, this is how the Z level control works now, which is great. But I would love it if the camera went up with you. So what would that involve? So that would involve increasing the Z level, moving the cursor. Oh, when we assume Z level control, we need to stop doing any kind of cursor mapping. Like we need to stop doing the ray casting. That's what happened. That's what's I think one of the things that's messing us up. So when I go up, the camera's going to move up. We'll increment the Z level. Then we'll try to figure out what coordinate we're in, maybe. Because it's nice. We honestly don't need that feature very often. I'm going to show Boolean some of the stuff we've been doing with the cutaway. I know we've demoed it already. I'm going to do it real quick. But we've been working a lot on how you navigate this pseudo 3D space. We have a neat cutaway system that helps a lot. We were trying to mess around with the scrolling. So like I can scroll into and out of this area. And it's really neat when we're talking about sealed compartments here. That floor is double thick. I'll allow it. So you can like scroll into the ship and then cursor your way back out. Well, you can scroll back out, or you could do the thing that I kind of like. This double thick ceiling has messed everything up. Or you could just do this. And there's some glitches that we need to work through. Okay, I'm very pleased with this. There's this moment where the cursor gets stuck between floors or between walls. We got to figure that out too. It creates that one momentary cutaway shift where you can see it like kind of freak out for a second and then settle into its new cutaway. That's because of that wall issue. We'll figure out where that is next. Yeah, we should be able to just do something as simple of like, oh, lock me to this Z level so I can go over here, ignoring the cutaway. It also kind of lets me just go through a wall without having to scroll, which is neat. And then I can be like, oh, make another wall here. A bit small for a wall. Yeah, we got to figure out that exception for does it need to be just blocks that are one size? So like what if we do a little Jeffrey's tube like thing that's 2 blocks wide? What does that look like? What if I do this and then I try to scroll into this? That's not great either. So yeah, I think if you figure out that the dimensions of a compartment are just 2, then we need to do like if it's along a certain axis, if its dimension, or maybe if its interior space is just 1, then we need to do a more aggressive cutaway so that you can actually see into there. Because right now we can't see anything. All right, we're heading into our last ad break here. We got about 1 more hour. Let's see if we can figure out this Z level control thing. That would be good. That would be good. I love when people say they've never seen an art style like this before. That makes me feel great. I mean, depending on, you know, the tone they're using, but it's really nice to hear. All right. So what happens now is this will just go up or down. If I, you know, control it, it'll just go up or down. The mouse, the camera doesn't move. I would like the camera to follow this movement. Jacob is a blind man you've never seen. It does simplify your problem a little bit. That's a joke. Either Jacob. I think you mean jam winner, Jacob. I think you mean solo development marathon jam winner, Jacob Dev. Put some respect on their name. Yeah, jam winner Jacob. Lord Jacob. God Emperor Jacob. All right. Yeah, you can't really get outdone. Yeah, we'll see. I'm nervous going up against you in Down to Jam this weekend, Jacob. We got second place for art in the last Down to Jam, and that was the only respectable result that we got for all the different categories, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that again because we spent literally all of our time on the art and didn't even have any sound. So we got to dial it back. We got to dial it back this weekend. Whatever, we need to tighten up the scope. We need to have the tightest possible scope for the jam this weekend, and then whatever we end up doing this weekend, we need to cut it again by 50% for Ludum Dare, because Ludum Dare is 48 hours and not 72 hours. So yeah, this is we are in for it. A lot of jamming going on the next couple of months. And honestly, if solo development announces a jam in like early April, I might have to do it. I don't want to. I would prefer to do the summer solo dev jam, but I just want to jam. Just want to jam it out. Try to be here and distract as much as possible. That's great. All right, so what we're gonna do? Oh no, Boolean is stuck in ads. Let's fix that. Hey, Magoo, what's good? Nothing much. We just saved Boolean from ads. Kind of post facto, but next time. That's a crazy sub sound. It's a phaser blast. Just a friendly little phaser blast. Set phasers on sub. I don't think I've ever said that before. I like that. Set phasers on sub. It's important to make yourself laugh. Because if you don't make yourself laugh, you're certainly not going to make anyone else laugh. Yours is all right, Nix. You got it. You got a Boolean anytime. Save you from those Bezos ads. All right. So what we want to do is we want to add the camera movement to the Z level control, but we need to like fully take over everything. So we need to control the X, the Y, the Z. We need to do the whole thing, and we need to keep it in sync with the camera. And you know what? You know what the camera is, I bet, doing? I bet it is moving the wrong amount. I bet that's happening. I don't know the amount that it's moving. Offset is 8. Is that the correct amount? Maybe that is the correct amount. Vector 2.up times offset times direction. That's maybe the correct amount. 8 pixels should be good. So if you're at this point, let's say you're just at this arbitrary point, excuse me, and you move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pixels, you're at the same arbitrary point in the next tile. So 8 pixels is correct. Okay, so the camera is doing the right thing. It's the mapping system that is not. We can figure that out. Magoo, you're doing web dev for the first time in 3 years? Oof. Yeah, I don't do that. That's funny, Nix. All right, so we set the coordinates manually. We set it to the tile, the backing tile. So there's one tile map. There's one real tile map in the game. It's at the bottom. And it's just a flat board at the bottom of the whole, you know, at the 0, at the Z origin. And it just kind of stretches out infinitely. And it's what tells us where the cursor is. So it's a flat plane for matching where the cursor is, and then we manipulate that because we know what our Z level is. So if game.input Z level control, so we should change the cursor Z level first, right? Is there a reason we wouldn't update the Z level immediately? Especially if the camera has already started moving. Yeah, I feel like we should reverse this. I feel like we should set the Z level first and then set the coordinates. That's my instinct. I could be wrong on that. So it's cursor Z level, game.input.Z level scroll. And it's between 0 and the game board's maximum Z. Okay. Okay. Laziness is, I think, a totally appropriate stress response, Nix. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay. So we've got the game.input.tile mapping XY. We multiply that by this Z level anchor. When do we set the Z level anchor? Why is that a separate thing? Z level anchor is cursor Z level. Cursor Z level is input.cursor_chords.z. Why is this a separate thing? going to stop using that for a second and try to understand why I have it. That's probably going to mess something up. So xy, so that plus vector 2i dot xy times cursor z level plus, oh, the chord offset is important here, the w chord offset. y0x xy, right? That's an additional offset based on the w coordinate of the cursor, which doesn't change. And then this is set by the cursor z level. Let's try this, see if this works. It's not going to, but hopefully we'll have a better idea of why it's not going to. Oh. Well, no, it's heading back. So here's the thing. So it's going back, I think. Because yeah, if you see this, the double thick outline remains, which means that it's, so now it's up. Oh no, it is actually working. It might actually be working. Let's drop it. Oh, this is not good. This is not what we want. I mean, this is okay. We might actually stop this from happening a different way. Yeah, the more intensely we do this, the more it does that, which is not what we want. So interesting. It goes forward when we go up and back when we go down. There's like an offset. Is that just a side effect of the motion? That's not good because that indicates that the cursor itself is moving, which we don't want. So how do we eliminate this movement? Because I would like you to be able to move around like this. Like, I don't want to fully lock the XY. I need you to be able to, like, do stuff. But I don't want this. It's kind of weird. But in theory, this is close to what I want. We just need to dial it in here. So it's forward. It's too far forward when we go up. And it goes back. It drifts forward when we move up and it drifts back when we move down. So do I just need some kind of offset? Here. What if we had it? What if we introduced one more offset? Oh no, we don't actually want to do this vector 2i xy times cursor z level. We actually want to... We actually do want this kind of anchor position thing. I kind of see why we have a z level anchor now. Because we actually want to freeze the offset while we're going up and down. So we don't do that, I think. I know I just undid the thing that I did. And I think that's why. I think that's why this was here. Past Dave. Figuring things out. Magoo out. Alright, take it easy, Magoo. Thanks for hopping in for a minute. Thanks for stopping by. Streaming for 7 days straight. Hopefully I catch you. We're streaming Tuesday to Monday this week. We got a game jam on this weekend. 7 days. 7 days of Dave. It's gonna be crazy. Get ready. And then I'm taking 7 days off because I'm gonna... Hey! Okay, so this is almost what we want, but we're still... So now we're seeing a desync. which is curious. But if I do this... Okay, so now we're seeing everything just move. Oh, you know what? You know what? This is wrong. I'm wrong. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Why is this happening? You know what the camera doesn't understand? Is the actual Z-level limitations of the board. Like, it'll lock here, but that's like super arbitrary. I could do this. Well, maybe it's not arbitrary. What if I did this and then I tried to go down? I couldn't because we're already technically the view is locked. Okay, so there needs to be more coordination between the camera and the simulation for this to work correctly. I like this slow like whoosh when you do something like this. The game like spits you out. I don't think a player will ever see that because you're not allowed to have solid objects like this. You're not allowed to have multi-thick walls, but that's a pretty neat, that's a pretty funny thing that happens. Let me make a bigger version of it. I kind of like this effect. Let me see if I can trigger the effect. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, that was cool. It wasn't cool though that it froze for a second there, but it's cool. Man, it really doesn't like that. All right, that's fine. You're not supposed to be able to do that. You're gonna leave as well. You're probably co-working through it. All right, that sounds good, No Jewel. You're not down to jam. Oh, no, you said you'll probably be doing it, or you asked about it. If you're co-jamming, that's awesome. If you're doing other stuff, that's fine. It's allowed. Nix, you gotta leave? No worries. You registered? All right, that's the first step. The path to hell is paved with jam registrations. All right, so why is this the way that it is? Okay, so the disconnect between the simulation and the camera is not good, but I can live with it for the moment. So hard locking the XY offset to be the Z level anchor is also not good. I wonder if the thing that we need to do is actually like actually set like a timer from when you change the Z scroll so that you can't change it until like the animation is finished. It should be fine because the animation is only supposed to take like, well, no, the animation takes a few seconds, so that's not exactly cool. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it'd be okay to have a timer that like prevents the Z scroll from changing while the system is catching up. Maybe that would help. Maybe it would help. Maybe not. Hey, Skywalk. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. And again, you still want to get into a jam one of these days. You just don't have the flexibility in your schedule. Maybe a couple more years. Your kids are a bit older. Yeah. No, flexibility is king for jams. I mean, I'm very lucky that I can like take a day off work and then spend, you know, a whole weekend doing nothing except jamming. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that I have that option. All right. All right, so this goes out. That's not what we want. We want it to just go up, not out. So that's a problem. If I do this again, okay, so this stabilizes, but it freaks out for a second. And like normally I would be okay with that, except the implication of that is not good. Like if it was just for building, that would be fine. Which, is that the only time you would manually control the Z level? Is building? If it's only a build mode tool and not something that I would actually let you use during the game. So if you were playing the game and you were like navigating around and you were selecting things. Yeah, how do I change just the Z without messing with the XY? Oh, you know what? Well, so here's the thing I don't want to do. I actually have a solution to this, maybe. I say maybe. I think I have a solution to this. I think if Z level changes, we just don't let XY change. Like, I think we just hard lock the XY. The trick is the input tile mapping XY. But yeah, I think we can just lock it. So your cursor can't actually move freely in all 3 dimensions in that specific scenario. You can either you can move the XY. I think people might get annoyed at that if they're trying to do like power move stuff and they're like, oh, let me move my cursor sideways while scrolling up. I guess people would want to do that, huh? Let's see if we can support that. Can you just stop tracking the mouse position after the scroll to the next floor is complete? Or rather stop tracking what block you're hovering over? So I think the problem is, I think this is the problem. So we figure out what your coordinate is. This looks like an advanced map editor now. Yeah, thanks Skywalk. It looks pretty. There's some crazy stuff we've been working on. I'll just show you very quickly. We've got some really cool stuff for navigating. Oh, this is gonna be a pain in the butt to build. We got stuff for navigating these spaces, which is gonna help a lot. The cutaway system is working really well. We can set this whole thing up. Make a couple of floors. And now we can scroll into rooms. It's a little janky. We're still working on it, but the idea is there. So you can scroll into and out of rooms so that you can see into your lovely ship. Yeah. It's so like, because when you're playing the game, it's just going to look like this, yeah? It's just going to look like this. So it's going to be like, what's happening inside my ship? Well, maybe you can like pick a character portrait and it will like set the cursor to that. Like maybe there's what we're going to do is we're going to have cutaway that's both based on the cursor and based on the selection. That's probably something we're going to do next, because I do want to re-enable selections, like being able to select blocks and stuff. And we should probably allow selections to act as a focal point of the cutaway. That's probably something we should do. A little too easy to accidentally like work your way up and out. There's some cases that behave kind of weirdly right now. Like if you're trying to scroll and you're too close to the edge of the room, it like kind of behaves kind of weirdly. But it does let you get there, which was an important requirement, like being able to scroll into the edge. Yeah, what we're working on right now is if you manually are shifting up and down the Z level and nothing else, it just needs to work a little better. So yeah, I was gonna say Nanigans. I think the issue we're running into, hey Giddy World, aka A6, how's it going? I think the problem is that we have this tile map that is basically not retracting. It's basically receding away from us, right? There's this, it's in line with the bottom plane. So in line with this plane here, there's a tile map that's receding away. So it needs to compensate for that as we go up and down with this. And I think it's not doing it correctly. So I think if we can get the compensation, and it does seem to be tied to the amount. So like the amount of acceleration we have. So I think we are just doing too much. So you might be right. We just need to like lock the system out while we're doing a scroll. I don't know. I want people to be able to scroll more than one. I don't want people to have to wait. But maybe that's what we got to do. If we can't like handle that, if we can't handle it ourselves, I think that's what's happening. What's up? Oh, no, I mean, up a bit. We've been working on a bunch of stuff. I was just demoing a bunch of it with our cutaways. We're still working on just how do we build and navigate these spaces that will eventually be, you know, spaceships. So I just added this scroll through walls thing like yesterday, and we're tuning it. We're tuning it and doing some other stuff. Man, that like false... You can see when it's trying to zoom out and it can't do it because the cutaway is not updating quickly enough. You can see the block move to the new position, but the cutaway doesn't update. Yeah, we gotta make that very tight. Gotta tighten that up. Gotta tighten up the graphics on level 3. It's looking gooder now. Thanks, Skywalk. Appreciate it. That's what we aim for. Gooder. Gooder is good enough. Looks cool. Thanks. Thanks, A6. Appreciate that. Yeah, I barely speak English, you know. I'm so historically my aptitude for learning additional languages has been low. Skywalk, because you speak English and French, you can understand roughly 3/4 if you stretch it for like a Spanish sentence. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting when you see that stuff. Like if I see a notice in Spanish on the bus, I can like understand what they're saying between context and like Latin roots. Like Latin-based languages are like, there's enough similarity where you're like, But yeah, I've found that has only helped me for like stuff that's written down. If someone starts saying any of it, I'm like, oh, I don't know anything. Nanigans, you don't think you need to force wait until a scroll is done before scrolling again? You want to let people do that as fast as they want. Yeah, I'm hesitant to do it, to lock it. But if you want to update where the system thinks the cursor is hovering over, then it shouldn't bulge out like that, and you think it should just get the seamless change in between. Yeah, it should be able to predict where it's going to be. And I think there's a reason it's bulging out, and it's because of that receding plane of the tile map layer that maps the input. Because as we scroll up, I'm having a really hard time expressing this thought, but it's because as you go up, your cursor is further away from the input plane now. Just the act of scrolling up, you're further in all 3 dimensions, not just Z, and it's because it's mapped, it's casting a ray from the camera into the input map. Technically, it's going the other way from the input map to the camera. So when you scroll up, that whole vector is being lengthened by 1. And so that's where I need to account for that. And I thought I did, because we are multiplying the XY coordinates by the cursor Z level, which is acknowledging that fact that the raycast is traveling farther the higher up the Z level is getting. Should still work with clicking and dragging while scrolling. Yeah. Yeah, I want people to click and drag and scroll too. I definitely don't want to lock that out either. If you don't update the cursor position until after the scroll is complete, you no longer need to compensate for the shift in the plane. Because you scroll up exactly 1 tile, correct? Yeah. Yeah, I think we're maybe accumulating too many scrolls. Yeah, I gotta think about this. Yeah, I'm doing this lazily because, like I said before, we had this kind of like relay between the systems where we would receive an input, process it, and then send the result of it back. We're not doing that. We've like short-circuited that, so I think this is all just maybe playing out a little too quickly for the system to, because the system does stabilize. It just becomes briefly unstable during the process. Yeah, I think what we need, I think if during the scroll, we don't actually, what I think I want to do is I think I want to ignore this. I think I want to ignore the game input tile map. Well, no, because it's like you said, we want to be able to drag while doing a scroll. And I don't want to actually lock it up so you can't do both. This is tricky. That's fine. This is the kind of stuff I want to work this week. This weekend is going to be so crazy. So if I'm going up and I'm going over... You know, this is only a build thing. Because this is only build time, I may be okay with this. Like, I don't think this is a thing that makes sense to do when you're selecting anything. Like, if you've got this and then you've like, if you've like selected a character and you're like playing the game, what does it mean to like manually control the Z level? Would it be just like, I'm kind of thinking of this as an advanced feature. I like can't think of a use case for Z level control while you're actually playing the game. Like while you're clicking things and moving things around and stuff. That you should be able to just do with like the regular scroll. You shouldn't need a manual. And in fact, yeah, I just can't think of how you would use it outside of the editor tool. So maybe this isn't as big a deal as I'm thinking about. It's a bit of a deal, but maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe we just say it's okay for now. There is some stuff that's a problem. Can't you do multi-click? Click drag once to make a base and click drag to Z, click again to drag to Z? Or is it already as is? I could do it in one go. I could do it in two goes. It's not really, I don't think the multitude of the clicks really, it would be noticeable. It's like I can do this and then I can manually increase the Z level. Or, you know, I could just do this once and then I could try to do this wall. I only need to do this the first wall, but this is pretty disorienting. And then after that, I can just take advantage of the raycasting system to do everything else. I don't actually, like, it's pretty rare that I need to manually handle the Z level. There's a couple cases, like if I wanted to, like if I was trying to make another wall from like here to here, this is challenging without the Z level. You see how it jumps from here. So there's a gap and then it jumps to here. And actually, if I want to fix that, I would need to scroll through. So I can scroll through and complete it because I'm scrolling through to the wall. Or I can just engage manual Z level and then just do it myself. So it's definitely like a useful edit tool, but it's also not the only way to do something. It's just maybe more intuitive than doing it this way. 'Cause having to be out here and then like scroll your way into where you want to be is a little weird, but it would work for like most cases. Yeah, I don't quite know. I don't quite know what I want to do. I'm thinking it's not a big problem, but if there's an easy fix, it seems like Nanigans has an easy fix, but I don't quite see it. So you're thinking, I think what Nanigans is thinking is we finish the movement and then update. Like we finish the movement and then update the block is, I think, Nanigans' suggestion, which is not bad. It would be slightly slower, but it would be like, I don't think it would actually interrupt what the player is trying to do. It would just delay the feedback slightly. So it wouldn't interfere with what you're trying to do. Because yeah, I don't want to stop people from scrolling up and down and doing anything else at the same time. So when we go up, we go out one. That's what's happening. So we go out, we go out one. Oh, I'm maybe preempting it a little bit. Maybe we were doing it in the right order before, and now what I'm doing is actually making it worse. Because this was after, you know what'd be really funny is if I actually mostly had it set correctly, and then I've just kind of been messing around with it and making it worse. That sounds like typical Dave. The number of times where like past me has like foreseen and like engineered things in such a way that it would be easy to do the next thing, and then by the time I get to the next thing, I've forgotten. That was me trying to figure out this scroll thing. I spent so long manipulating a bunch of stuff. I spent hours the other day on my own time just so I could do this. Just so I could do this thing of like occupy the block immediately behind a low wall. I changed everything about the entire cursor mapping system, and then I was like, wait, I can just do it with the scroll wheel. I engineered the setup to make this easy to do with the scroll wheel, and I'm like, oh man, I spent 4 hours thinking of alternatives. That feels like game dev most of the time. Most of the work it seems to be just figuring out the wrong solution to things. Exploring a space, being wrong, doubling back, being less wrong. That's been the way things were with your vox mesh stuff too, yeah. I like built in a good solution to this, like in principle, and then I just didn't. That's kind of like managing the scroll with the cutaway system. The cutaway system just makes it really easy to manage the scroll, because the cutaway system respects the scroll. So it's like I just need to scroll once, and now I don't need to worry about it anymore because the cutaway system is just paving the way for me. And like the mapping system just works with the scroll. It's crazy. Music is way too epic for what we're doing. Let's calm down, Pretzel. Be wrong until you're right enough. Looks very nifty. It's just nice. There's a nice synergy between the cutaway and the cursor mapping system for this. Where like I can just step out and back and then there and then out. Like there's just a nice synergy between these systems, and that's one of the joys of doing things this way, this very modular approach. I'm not quite sure how to handle what happens when I go off screen though. Right now it just keeps whatever the Z level was that you were at last, which prevents you from like freaking out by like accidentally, you know. Yeah, I have something preventing you from getting behind the... I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can do this, which I don't want you to accidentally do that all the time, just every time you go off screen. But I need to come up with a solution to that. So here's what happens. So when I control and go up, we go forward and then balance. Forward, then balance. Forward, then balance. So maybe when we're in a transition, we actually need to dampen the change, is maybe what I think. Because it seems to stabilize, but we just need to compensate for that change as it's happening. And it seems to be worse the more rapidly we do it. So I guess we want to get it to a point where it's just once. I think Nanigans has the right idea. I just don't totally know how to convert that suggestion into practicality. Which is probably mostly just me needing to think about it for a minute. Which I know is great content. I know me just thinking about stuff is like the best. Super engaging. So the idea that if someone wants to draw on the backside, they rotate. Yeah. That would be a good way to do it. If you mean actually like drawing on the back face of this wall, yeah, you could kind of finagle it by like scrolling. So if I wanted to start a wall here, I could scroll through, engage, and then I would need to like set my Z level control. Like you could build on a back face if you really wanted to. But I feel like it's just more intuitive to like grab from the back and pull forward. But you technically can go forward to back. I just think it's a bad user experience. But it's definitely doable. Mostly you were thinking on the backside of the outside. Oh, yeah. If you wanted to, like... Because eventually we're going to be able to, like, paint individual tile faces, right? And yeah, in that case, you would just rotate the thing around 180 degrees and do that. That's definitely, I think, my defense against over-scrolling. Against being like, oh, man, you had to scroll so far and you've cut out so much of the ship just so you could see, like, this little back corner. And it's like, well, you could just turn the ship around and then scroll in a little bit to the other side. You can just set a flag like is scrolling or something, and then in your loop it updates the cursor to check if that flag is set. So return early. Yeah. We could do that. We could do that. Would that be easy? Just rotate. Hours of matrix math later. Look, the rotation is trivial. We've had camera rotation. I turned it off because there's a case where it doesn't work, but like just rotating everything is easy. The problem is when you like partly rotate it, then move the camera, then rotate it again, then move the camera, then rotate again. Like I'm having a hard time with that. Rotating around this frame that you're creating, like I'm not a matrix math guy. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it. I've just been putting it off because I've had other things that I could be doing. But eventually we'll need to get there. Yeah, maybe the best thing to do is to just do some kind of timer or Boolean or something. We could say camera. We could say moving. Why is this moved? Oh, this just tells us if we've moved or not. I feel like this should be moving. Target plus equal. Yeah, so we accumulate this, huh? And then we create a new tween. So yeah, we'll just make this moving, and we'll just query this. I guess we should call it is moving. We can try this. I think this is a good start. We can say... Oh, but wait, how is the game gonna know this? This is... I hate the communication between my GD stuff and my stuff, my ECS stuff. I've really tried to have a very loose connection between the two, and this is definitely a pain point for that sort of thing. Having to coordinate a tween on the one side and a bunch of other stuff happening on the other. And camera rotation is trivial before we add anything. Yeah, before we add any additional things. Just camera rotation is easy. Camera rotation that remembers stuff about what it's done, that's hard. Camera rotation that keeps track of its state and where it is mid-rotation. Yeah, I hate that stuff. Even though my case for it's really easy, I'm still struggling. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do for this. I think I might get to sleep on it for a night and we can decide. I think having like a Boolean or a signal or something is fine. Is there a way that I can like guess what we're doing? Because the problem is this. The problem is for a moment, our tile mapping is off. For a moment, the game input's tile mapping disagrees with the cursor Z level during that. But the thing is, we know that's going to happen anytime that there's a Z level scroll. We know that that's going to happen. So is there a way to compensate for that other than just skipping the thing? Problem is it's worse the more we move. You can kind of notice that it's like the magnitude of it. Oh, you know what I watched last night? Oh, not last night. I watched it during the day. But you know what I watched during the day yesterday? Ghost in the Shell. You know what's good? Ghost in the Shell. You know what's not good? Ghost in the Shell 2.0. I started that one instead, and it opens up with all this CG, and I was like, no thanks. It opens up with a major and all like 3D, and I'm like, nah, this is not what I signed up for. All right. So yeah, can we compensate for this? It's been a long time since you've watched Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, me too. I don't know what came up, but someone reminded me of it. Something made me think of it the other day. All right, how do we compensate for this? I think opting out is not bad. Is not a bad solution, but compensating would be better. But yeah, Nanigans might be right. The best thing we could maybe do is just delay for the like second it takes for the camera to move, because it really doesn't take long. It takes like, I think it takes like a second or two. Yeah, I think if it was just one, it would be easy, but because it's like tied to the speed and the intensity of the scrolling, maybe that's partly my fault. Maybe I need to regulate the scroll that comes through, because there's no point in like executing a scroll before the last scroll is finished. So maybe there's a combination of things we can do here where we like restrict how quickly we can scroll such that the player doesn't notice. Like the player just gets the nice smooth scroll movement, but like maybe we avoid the extra frames where the system is telling us to scroll and it just can't. That actually doesn't seem to be a problem for us, but I don't know. I gotta think about this some more. Rhiannon, you've been rewatching X-Files. You finished up the first movie last night. You're starting on season 6 today. Dang. You missed long seasons of shows. Yeah. Nanigans, do you think the compensation would be translating a number of texels based on the height of a block multiplied by the percentage scrolled? Trick there is, does that require communicating between your back end and front end, and can you get that info back before it renders a frame? That's the thing I'm concerned about. I would prefer some kind of dead reckoning system where they're coordinated, but they're not communicating. Because yeah, I have to minimize the amount of communication between the front end and the back end just because of the way we've architected this. So yeah, I would prefer some kind of dead reckoned coordination towards actually having to communicate back and forth. Is that feasible? Yeah, I think that's the better thing to do at first, would be to just restrict the signal coming out. So let's try that real quick. I gotta wrap it up now, but I got a few minutes and we can try one thing. We can try to ask the camera if it's moving, and if it is moving, we'll just wait. And we're gonna do that at the front end state of things. So we're gonna do that here. So when we get the unhandled input, we set the unhandled input, and then here we ask about, and then in the physics process, we do the thing. So we can say game set Z level control. Z level control, set the control. If we try to scroll, then here we can say if Z level move down and not camera. We know about the camera, don't we? Apparently we don't. Well, let's fix that. This should definitely know about the camera. Oh, wait. Surely you know about the camera. Who was that? Oh, that's the input handler. Yeah, the input handler should know about the camera. Oh my god. I keep trying to grab a script and it's like, oh, let me jump to that. I don't know how to use Godot. I'm a Godot poser. There we go. Grab our camera. We're going to do it properly. We're going to say, actually, is it unique? Well, for now it's unique. I don't know if it's always going to be unique, but whatever. All right. So we're going to say a not camera 2D dot is moving. So we're actually going to retain, well, the way I've written this, we're actually going to retain the scroll move. But maybe that's not what we want to do. We'll try it like this for now. I don't think this is right, but we're going to try it. We're going to just do it here. We're going to say if not camera 2D dot is moving. We'll do it like this. This is bad. This is not the right way to do it, but I just want to try it out. Gotta snooze the ads here. All right, let's see. See about this. Trick here. Oh boy. Null instance. Okay, I was concerned about doing this with a I don't think you can use a unique identifier with like an auto load. So I don't think it has the scene. I don't think it has that scene structure. I don't think it understands. But we're gonna just do this instead. Sorry. Nanigans. The trick there is, does that require communicating? Oh no, you already asked that. That you were talking about something Leo just said. But yeah, no, I am trying to avoid front and back end communication. Not camera 2D dot is moving. Invalid access property or key on a base object of type null instance. Camera on ready, camera 2D. Get node. Root. Game. Remote. Root. Game. Oh, I didn't spell camera right. I'm dumb. Camera 2D. All right. Raid target error is errand. Errand. That's how you say it, right? Like I'm going on an errand. Is the D like not pronounced? But thank you. Thank you for telling me the raid target. Okay, that didn't do anything. Curious. I would have expected that to at least help this. I would have expected to be able to reduce the offset to just 1 doing it this way. So why isn't that happening? If not, is moving. So if the camera's moving, this shouldn't allow this to occur. Oh, this is based on the input? What? How does this work? Maybe this doesn't mean the same thing that I think it means the way I've set this up. This did used to just be called moved. Input, if not is equal input.x, or not it's is equal approx. Oh, this is very much not the way I want to do this. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to figure out how to do this compensation probably tomorrow because I have to go to a meeting. But I'm still very pleased with how the cursor is working generally, but that's fine. That's what we're doing this week. We're working on cutaways and cursors and fun stuff. I'm very pleased with our scroll back and scroll forward. I think that's pretty neat. I think that creates really interesting effects when we've got multiple compartments. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the model of how to interact with the game, how that's coming together. Because to me, that's the most important part of a game is like the model of how the player interacts with it. And this is working out. It's working out all right. So you say it, you don't know? All right. I'll call him Aaron. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, 7 days straight. 4 regular days and then 3 game jam days. And then I'm gonna take a week off for GDC. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Jacob. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Similar time, same place. Definitely the same problem. So we didn't fix anything. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.